Thank you. Okay. Righto. Okay. And Andrew.
Yes.
How are you, mate?
Good, thank you. Kia ora koutou. Ko Andrew School's and I'm presenting on behalf of Stefan and Brune Hui of 54 Clifton Terrace, Sumner. It's a very discrete issue of the disposal of 1 Kinsey Terrace, also on Clifton Hill. Now, the predicament for Stefan and Brune, they wished they could be here to attend this meeting in person. Unfortunately, they're currently out of the country on work commitments, and I can only hope to do justice to their plight. In essence, they've experienced 30 years of growing concerns over access to their property, which they've been trying to address for a number of years, and which have been amplified by the earthquakes. Since the earthquakes, a viable solution has actually been staring them in the face in terms of access over, or potential access over, number 1 Kinsey Terrace. But frustratingly, there's been no ability to realise that, firstly because of the Crown's ownership, and then, of course, the delayed transfer to the council, and obviously the issues of long-term options for the property. And now, I guess they're faced with the possibility that the solution may be permanently denied if it can't be enabled before number 1 Kinsey Terrace is disposed of, if, and we think it's probably potentially a big if, the council decides that. And now their submission contains a detailed summary of the situation, and as it makes clear, Stefan and Brune see this process as their last chance to secure reliable and safe access to their property. And I ask you please to note in the submission there's some photographs in there, including figures 2 and 3, which show the aftermath of the earthquake at number 1 Kinsey Terrace, and also figures 6, 7 and 8, which show the limited access from Clifton Terrace to their property at number 54. Now, in terms of the earthquake impact, quite simply, it broke the property in half, including the property and the dwelling. And moreover, the earthquake still lives with Stefan and Brune, as detailed in their submission in terms of delays with what they've been able to do with their property. And they also consider there's a real likelihood that if it occurred again, i.e. an earthquake, number 1 Kinsey Terrace and any development on it would suffer in a similar fate. And they ask, is that a justifiable risk? So in the submission, Stefan and Brune have identified 3 options, and they're detailed in the relief. I don't know if you want me to go through all those options now. Essentially, it's council retains ownership but sells just an access way. Council sells the property. Both these options would be subject to independent valuation. Sells the property to Stefan and Brune, and then they would be able to create the access way, obviously. And the third, that if the decision was made to sell it on the open market, that an access way be created, or a shared access way be created prior to the actual auction of the property. Now, options A and B are the preferred options, and it's noted that all options do involve, or still involve, a return to the council. However, the preferred option comes at a reduced long-term risk, and importantly, Stefan and Brune are not trying to get something for nothing. As a worst case, a shared driveway could be provided as it did previously exist, even though it wasn't actually able to be put through to their property. And if the council decides it wants to enable what we think is a risk of another dwelling on 1 Kinsey, that's a viable option. So if indeed this is the last chance, the impact for Stefan and Brune of a sale without provision for an access to their property would be severe and signal a probable end of their dream to actually return to number 54 Clifton as their permanent and relatively safe and more secure home. Meanwhile, we think the cost to the council would be negligible. The materials in terms of the LTP materials does indicate that proceeding with all the land disposals, which represent 1% of the council-owned land, will have no effect on the level of service in the LTP, and any cost could potentially be viewed as a bit of a reduction in what is something of a windfall in terms of the sale of the red zone land. Because we say the property in question is undeniably risky. The extent of the risk may be debated, but there will always be a risk, which experience shows could have a significant impact. And finally, it can't be overstated how profound the outcome of the council's decision on the disposal of number 1 Kinsey Terrace will be for Stefan and Brune, and they ask that the council recognises that proceeding, as they suggest in their submission, is the fairest and least risky option for them and for the council. Thank you.
So, question from me. So, is their house repaired now or not? Or I'm just missing.
No, not yet.
No, okay.
There's still work to be done.
And they don't want to do that until they know they've got proper access, is that?
that's a part of it, but also in terms of just access to the site to get the repairs done is in fact a major issue in terms of the actual alignment of their property and how you can actually get to it other than through One Kinsey Terrace, and in terms of their future plans.
And the piece of land that you're talking about is some red zone land that we've inherited through one way or another, and there's nothing built on it. It's totally empty.
No, there's not.
Yeah, I can see it there, but I'm just trying to get my head around it. Okay, thank you very much. I'll go and have a look.
Thank you.
Good on you. Very good. No questions? Okay, so
Phil,
Marcus.
So just with requests like that,
Sorry.
are staff just going away to make some notes and come back to us on those? Because they're not really big LTP decisions.
No, it's something that can be done. It's good that it's been brought up to us.
Yeah.
But
So every single submission has been allocated to a member of staff to look at,
Right.
and for advice to be taken, or if it's possible to put it into effect before waiting for the LTP. Obviously, we would do that.
Right. So we'll hear back on all the requests to purchase bits of
you'll
property
get
that we currently spend a
response on
fortune
all of
maintaining.
those requests. Yep.
thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
That's not just the herd ones, that's all of them.
Yes. Yep. That's correct.